It's the learning but I don't want to. Okay, let's be real. You might be feeling like that sometimes. Sometimes you might just literally not be in the mood. Today, I'm not really in the mood. But here's the thing about growing up you learn to take responsibility for your life and your obligations, the things that you're supposed to do, right? So even if you're not in the mood, sometimes you're a little tired, maybe you take a break, but you have to get done what you have to get done. Today, I have to get this writing video done so that when it comes time on Thursday, you guys, not Thursday, Wednesday, you guys are ready to actually type this writing. So I want to be asleep on my couch, but I'm going to do my job, just like you are going to do yours. So you might see on the screen right now, let me tell you what you're writing about, like yesterday. Different time periods in history that you learned about this year. Earlier in the year, you learned about the American Revolution, okay? That is when America became independent. Remember, we used to be owned by England, and then the revolution happened and America got its independence. We read lots of books on this. America in the 1600s with the Native Americans. So you might have learned about how, okay, we had colonists here and how did they get along with the Native Americans that already lived here, okay? You also learned about the Middle Passage. Okay, that's a time period when we had that triangular trade happening where people from Europe went to Africa, they captured people to be slaves, took them to the Americas to work, and they treated them very poorly. Then you recently have learned about the Civil War, and that was in America where the North and the South were fighting. The South wanted to keep slavery, the North wanted to free people, and that was a battle. And then right now we've been learning about the civil rights movement. That didn't happen too long ago, maybe just 50 years. There's people alive today that still remember that. And that's where our country was segregated and we did not have the same rights for African Americans and Caucasians, right? So they fought for equal rights. Now, what you're going to do today is you look at this list and I want you to pick one time period that you would want to live in, okay? Yesterday, you guys had to write about a time period you would not want to live in. If you had to choose one of these, which one would you want to live in? Now, I've already typed mine. I'm going to talk you through it so you can see how I want you to write it and how you're going to elaborate enough, right? I keep saying this in a week you're in sixth grade, and writing 2 or 3 sentences is not enough, okay? I'm going to show you how to elaborate. So watch. So this is my entry. I said a time period I would want to live in. And my first sentence is telling you the time period I would want to live in. A time period I would want to live in is the civil rights movement, period. One sentence. Then tell me what that time period is, what happened, what is it known for, okay? So if you're choosing the Middle Passage, the Revolution, give me like a 1 or 2 sentence description of what it was, okay? So mine says, the civil rights movement is a time in the 1960s where African Americans fought for equal rights. My next sentence, 3. In that time, they had to use different water fountains, restaurants, they went to different schools, and life wasn't fair. So those are my 3 sentences, okay? What time period do I pick, and what was it? And then I elaborated. Now I'm going to say, why do I want to live in that time? Why did I choose that time period? That's more of that yellow here. I would want to have lived then because I am a Caucasian woman and I would have wanted to help them. Okay, so that's my 4th sentence. I elaborate. How could I have helped? What would I have wanted to do? Well, I'm a teacher, right? So I said, oh, I could have worked in a school with African American kids, or I could have fought for schools to be integrated. That's something I could have contributed. I also would have wanted to participate in all the marches happening in the USA, and I could have been an advocate for African Americans in that time. So that's my 6th sentence. So I used Me being a Caucasian woman and a teacher, maybe for you, you would have wanted to be one of the first kids to go to an integrated school. You would have wanted to go to marches. Maybe if you choose that you wanted to be in the Middle Passage, perhaps you wanted to help stop slaves from being taken or help to free them. Perhaps if you chose the American Revolution, you're really passionate. Maybe you wanted to fight for America's freedom, right? And you remember the Boston Tea Party and you would have wanted to participate in that. Whatever time period you choose, tell me why you chose it and how you, being a girl or a boy, whatever, how you could have participated, okay? Then I add one more sentence, sentence 7 already, is I could have helped convince people to change laws, okay? So that's me for the civil rights. Now, that sentence 7, I'm shooting for like 10, okay? So again, what time period did I choose? What was that time period about? In case someone hasn't heard, and then the why, my why I chose that. Now, lastly, notice I changed colors. When I think to that time period, how does it make me feel? So that's where I'm going to get a little more elaboration. I'm going to push myself a little more. How do I feel when I think about what I know in that time period? I think about the civil rights movement. I say that time period makes me feel sad and empowered. And then I'm going to say why. So sentence 9 is I am sad that after becoming free from slavery, people still weren't treated fair. My sentence 10, I am empowered though because countless people in the USA got together to fight for what is right and they changed the laws. So notice that 10 sentence description, okay, about when I would want to live and why. For you, maybe you really wanted to fight for America's freedom. Maybe you wanted to help develop America in the country it is, or perhaps you wanted to befriend and work together with the Native Americans. Perhaps you wanted to stop the slave trade in the Middle Passage or help gain their freedom. Or maybe if you owned a plantation, you would have paid the people to work there instead of making them work for free. All right, perhaps in the Civil War, you would have wanted to fight for the North and freedom, or maybe you wanted to help on the Underground Railroad to free slaves. And then finally, if you're like me and you chose the civil rights movement, why? Okay. So I really look forward to seeing what you wrote. Remember, please, you guys, the date on top always, 10 sentences is what we're shooting for. What do you choose? What is that time period? Why did you choose it? How does that make you feel? Okay. And elaborate. Use my ideas. You can use some of the same sentence structures. Bye.